Hey Purpose Youth, David here. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys just a little bit more about the 5 things that I've selected I think are really, really important for you to ask for each day. So as you can see, I still haven't managed to get a haircut, but we're working with what we got. So in the first video that I did on this series, we talked about just asking God for 2 things in particular. The first 2 we selected were peace and was joy. So those 2 things I think are really, really important. If you haven't seen this video, please watch it after this. But yeah, so now I'm going to be just jumping into the next 2 things that I think are really, really important to pray for in your daily lives. So the one I've selected for today, the first one is wisdom. So for me, this has been a really important thing for me in my life. People who know me when I was a child know that David Cullen was not the wisest guy. I have so many stories of me just forgetting to do things, from leaving doors open, not preparing for stuff, just leaving things to the last minute. And that was just me. I did it so often. So like I have one story where we went into the supermarket when I was much younger, and I just completely left the car door open. So it was out in the car park and completely open. And we went into the shop, came out about an hour later, only to see that the car was still had the door wide open. And somehow, I don't know, God's watching over me. Nobody went in the car, nobody took anything, nothing was missing anyway. But yeah, so it was just by some miracle that nothing happened there. But I have a dozen stories like that where I just completely lack of wisdom, lack of thinking stuff through, and that was completely normal for me in my childhood years. So I would constantly pray for wisdom in my life. I would pray for stuff whenever someone would come talking to me, seem like he was in a difficult situation. I would just quickly ask God, Lord, please give me wisdom for this. And so in the book of James, actually, it talks a lot about wisdom. And so this is James 1 verse 5. So it says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given him. But let him ask in faith with no doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea that is driven and tossed by the wind." So the Bible here, clearly, James is instructing us just to ask God for wisdom. And so for me, this has really helped, just asking God for wisdom. When stuff is like a difficult thing comes up, or you get in an argument, or someone comes to you and they're upset maybe, just quickly asking God for wisdom, I've found in my case has really helped. And so I think that's why this is the 3rd thing on my list for things to pray for every single day. The 4th thing then I think that is really important for us to pray for each day and focus on is just kindness. I think kindness is something that can be really easily overlooked just because it seems so obvious, do kind things. There was that whole thing about random acts of kindness a while ago. And I think it's really important for us as Christians to ask God to give us a lens in which we can look at the world so that we can always be looking for opportunities to be kind to people. And so for me, obviously I don't do this all the time, but I've been trying to do it a lot more recently, it talks about it in scriptures of going the extra mile for someone. I have a scripture here in Matthew chapter 5 verse 41 that says, "And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. Give to the one who begs from you, and do not refuse the one who would borrow from you." So that just there is talking about when someone asks you to do a little job or to do one thing and you do extra than that. It's talking about, scripture encourages us to always go more than what people ask. That has a really good effect on your life. I think even though it might, you have to do extra stuff, and maybe say someone asks you do the dishes. After you've done the dishes, then you could 2 choices then. Your one choice is to go and just do whatever you like then, to do what you were doing before, or do what you want to do. Or your other choice would be then to go and, hoover the living room. You could do just an extra thing that would then put yourself up in a higher view in that person's eyes and make that person feel cared for, make them feel like you've done that for their sake. It's a really easy way to help to benefit yourself and other people, because they'll look at you in a way that's much higher. And they'll look at you and think, wow, I can't believe they did that for me. And so that's really, really beneficial thing to get into being just kind at any opportunity you can. And so that's why that's the fourth thing on my list of stuff to pray for each and every day. So let's review it one more time. So the first thing we talked about was joy, then we had peace, then we had wisdom, and then we talked about kindness. And so in the next video, I'm going to be talking about the last thing. But yeah, so try to do that over the next few days. Just pray it into your life and yeah, see what happens. I find it's really beneficial for me, so hopefully it's beneficial for you guys. Thanks so much for watching.